beautiful people of the internet, it's me, Caitlin Marie. So if you've never watched my videos, or if you don't even know me at all, you wouldn't know that I am a server in a restaurant. And for those of you who have worked as a server or just in the food industry in general, you know that hungry customers can be probably the rudest people you will ever meet in your entire life. And I'm not exaggerating, that's literally the actual truth. Like, customers in restaurants are so incredibly rude, it's ridiculous. So with that being said, today's video is going to be a bunch of mini story times about all of the incredibly rude customers I've had in my 3 years of working in a restaurant. So I'm gonna stop rambling and get on to the story times. I first started in a restaurant when I was 16. I started as a host, and then I moved up to serving, I believe, a year and a half ago, probably a little over a year and a half ago. And this first story time is actually 2 or 3 months after I started serving. So I knew the restaurant, I knew how it worked, I knew pretty much how to do my job almost, I wouldn't say perfectly, but I knew how to do my job well. I was still learning about certain things, but for the most part I knew how to do my job good, I guess is the word, I don't really know. But, so I believe it was a Friday or Saturday night, and it was pretty busy at the time. I think I had 2 top tables, and I was just sat with a 7 top, and at the time I was a little bit busy, so I walked over to the group of 7. I was like, hey, I'm really sorry about the wait. I'll be right back over with you guys in just 1 second. I'm very sorry about that wait. So they were like, okay, yeah, we're fine. So I go over to one of my other tables, I think, like dropping off their food or something. And then I went back to the group of 7. I was like, once again, I'm very sorry about that wait. What can I grab you guys to drink? So they all got waters, and they also all got alcoholic drinks with their waters. So I was like, okay, give me a second. I'll get these drinks, get some bread for you guys, and then I'll be right back over to take your order. And they was like, okay, you know, we're chill, fine, whatever. So I walk over to our computer system, put in their alcoholic drinks, and then I went to go like grab their waters and then grab their alcoholic drinks. And in the mix of me walking from getting their waters to the bar to go get their alcoholic drinks, one of the older guys at the table had pulled over another server and was like, I think your server needs help. Like, it's been a while and we don't have our drinks. Like, can we get some help over here? With such an attitude. And I don't even remember what the server said, but she had came up to me and she was like, the guy is really impatient, has an attitude, and wants their drinks. I was like, all right, well, I mean, it does take me a while to put in 7 alcoholic drinks, get 7 waters, then walk up to the bar, get 7 alcoholic drinks, and then come right back down to the table. Like, it's gonna take me a few minutes. And at this time, I think it was like 2 or 3 minutes after I had left the table saying I was gonna go get their drinks. So I got all their drinks, went back to the table, passed out all the drinks. I was like, all right, are we ready to order? And the guy was like, yeah. It's like, perfect. So they had ordered, I think, like 2 appetizers, and they all had ordered their own 7 entrees. And I believe all of our entrees had come with a free salad. So one of the other servers had brought up their appetizers when they were ready, because I was at one of my other tables doing something. I don't remember what I was doing. But then I realized that they were almost finished with their appetizers, so I had sent in their salads, and I was getting ready to go get them. Once again, the same guy pulls over a different server and was like,
our server's been gone so long, we need more drinks, we need this, like, this is such bad service, blah, 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 blah.
And again, that server came over to me as I was literally walking over to the table with their salads, she was like, hey, they want drinks. Where's their salads? I was like, I'm literally walking over to the table with their salads. Like, they can chill. So, brought over their salads, and the same guy was like, we need more drinks. Okay, calm down. I don't think alcohol's really that important right now, but okay. So I was like, okay, we all want like the same drinks, right? He was like, yeah. It's like, okay, I'll go get them in a minute. Give me 1 second. So I go back over to the computer system, put in their entrees, and then put in their round of drinks. And then I think I went back to one of my other tables. And at this point, the bar was also pretty busy with taking their own tables and making drinks for other servers. So after I was done with my other tables, I went to the bar to grab my drinks. And again, the same guy pulls over a different server and was like,
we need better service over here. Our service is taking forever. Like, our drinks have been literally so long. Like, we're all thirsty. Where's our drink? Blah, 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 blah.
And at this point, it was probably only like 5 more minutes. So again, the server comes over to me and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get a manager at this point because this guy is just like not happy at all. So I go over to my manager and I'm like, hey, this table is just having an attitude with everything. They're saying it's taking me forever to get everything out, but it's literally only taking me like a few minutes and I also have other tables to deal with. So I explained the whole situation to my manager. My manager goes over and talks to them, and I think at this point I'm also like delivering the drinks as my manager's talking to them, and I'm hearing everything the guy's saying, and I'm like you're bullshitting this entire story, like just stop. So my manager was like, I'm so sorry about that wait, those entrees are almost ready. The guy was also complaining about their entrees taking forever, but it's literally a Friday night. I think it was like 6:30 or 7 o'clock or something. So literally in the middle of our dinner rush, the guy's complaining that their entrees are taking forever. But if you would look at the restaurant, you would see that our whole restaurant was pretty much almost set, and you're a group of 7, so obviously it's gonna take your food to come out a little bit longer. So I believe like a few more minutes go by and their entrees finally come out, take them to the table, go back to my other tables, take care of them. I think like 2 or 3 minutes go by, I go back to the group of 7 and I'm like, hey, how's everything tasting? And the same guy pulls me over and he, I think, got a pork chop. I think he was like, this is absolutely disgusting. Like, it's literally frozen. I can't even cut into this. Like, you ruined my appetite. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry about that, sir. Like, is there anything else I can get you? Did you want something else? Do you want us to remake it? Like, what can I grab you? Being the nice, generous server that I am, trying to take care of my customers. And this guy literally tells me straight to my face, he's like, no, you ruined this whole experience for me. Like, tell your cooks they're the worst cooks I've ever had in my entire life. Like, this food is disgusting. Get this out of my sight. I don't even want to try anything else. And at this point, this guy was getting so incredibly angry. He was literally like making fists, and I swear in that moment, I thought he was getting ready to stand up and hit me or something. Like, I was kind of actually terrified for my life at this point. So I didn't want to make the situation any worse, so I just grabbed his plate, said okay, went over to my manager. I was like, I need you to take care of this table. So my manager goes over to the table, talks to the guy, and the guy of course has a straight up attitude with my manager. And he's like, this is the worst experience I've ever had. Like, this server sucks. She was so-so. The cooks are awful. They don't know how to make food at all. The drinks took forever. Like, I just don't want to pay for anything. I just want to leave. So my manager, the sweetest little thing she is, my manager's so incredibly sweet. She told me multiple times that she hates confrontation. So I just felt so bad for her in this moment. But so what we did, we took off the guy's food, and then we did 50% off for all of the other entrees. And then my manager took off all of the drinks from the second round that they ordered, which is illegal. You can't take off alcoholic drinks if a customer drinks them, because that's literally giving people free alcohol, which is illegal. And they did drink them, by the way. They like they got to the table, they still drank them all, so they should have had to pay for them, but my manager, the sweetest little thing she is, of course took them off to make them happy. So I think originally like a $200 ticket went to like $70 or something like that. I don't remember the exact amount, but there was a lot taken off of it, and I told my manager I was extremely uncomfortable with this guy and I didn't want to go back to the table, because if I did, I probably would have had a panic attack. So my manager was like, okay, that's fine. I'll just drop off the check. I'll pay him out and we'll get him out of here. So she drops off the check and they left me like 10 or 20 bucks, I think, off of like a $200 check originally. So thanks, love you, you're awesome. So that was probably one of the worst experiences I've ever had with a customer. This is like the first really bad experience I've ever had with a customer. So this gave me a little PTSD after like a few weeks after this. This last story that I'm going to tell actually happened this past Sunday. I come in at 5 o'clock on Sunday, and we were going to be pretty busy this night because it's graduation season, and I believe we had like 4 or 5 different parties. So I come in and talk to my manager, and she was like, we're gonna put you on, I believe, like a 25 top reservation at like 6 or something like that. I was like, okay, that's fine. So I started setting that up. I'm taking tables, and like 5:45 rolls around, and this big group of people walks in, and they were like, well, we have a reservation for 70 at 6 o'clock. And we look in the reservation book, no record of this reservation at all. We tell them, we're like, hey, we don't have this reservation. Like, is it under a different name? Like, did you make sure you're at the right location and everything? So we're trying to figure out what's going on with this reservation. And my manager compromises with them. They're like, okay, well, we have this party already set up in the back room, but we can put you guys back there and we can just put them somewhere else. So at this point, there's only like 30-ish people there at this point. So my manager's setting them up in the back room, and she comes over to me and she's like, I'm gonna have you take care of this party because they're already upset that we don't have their reservation, and I know you can kind of charm them up a little bit, make sure they're like happy and everything. I bring like a whole bunch of bread to this table, introduce myself to them, and I start getting drink orders. And as I'm getting drink orders, they're like, miss, we need this, we need this, we need this. Can we get lemons? Can we get sugar? Can we get more bread? Can we get butter? And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm one person taking care of 30 of y'all, trying to get drinks out for you guys, and you're asking me for stuff already like this. I'm gonna need you to calm down. So I get all 30 of their drinks out finally, and I didn't have room to grab all the other stuff. So as I'm passing out drinks, they're still asking me for lemons, sugar, butter, more bread and everything. I'm like, yeah, I'll get it in a second. Because at this point, I've like already pissed off with this table, already had enough. So I'm like, give me a second. I'm one person back here trying to control this whole party. Like, calm down. So I get all of their drinks, go get more bread, get all the stuff they need. I'm like, are we ready to order? And they're like, yes. I'm like, well, you shouldn't have been asking me for all the stuff if you were ready to order food. You should have just ordered food and then I can go grab the stuff. But you had to be complicated, didn't you? So I grabbed all their food orders, and they're still asking me for like refills and all this other stuff. I'm like, well, I need to get this food out, so let me go put this food in and then I'll come back with your stuff. So they had all ordered entrees, and then some of them ordered salads. So I put in all of their food all at once, and then I go to grab their salads, come in the back with their salads. And as I was passing out their salads, one of the guys goes to me, he was like, where's your help? Like, you don't have any help? I was like, no, we're pretty low on staff and we have a lot of parties tonight, so it's just me taking care of y'all tonight. Trying to like stay calm and not give them attitude. So I tried to let them know, hey, I'm the only person taking care of all 30 of you, so if you could be calm with me, that would be fantastic. So I passed out all their salads, asked them if they need any refills. They're like, yeah, we need sweet tea, we need Dr. Pepper, we need this, we need that, we need blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh my God, this is a freaking mess. So while I'm waiting for all 30 entrees to come out, I'm like making sure all their drinks are refilled, making sure they have whatever else they need, and just making sure they're content. So I go back, make sure they're all right, tell them the food should be coming up pretty soon, and their food's coming up pretty fast, so I start running their food and everything, and I have a couple people helping me running their food as well. So we get almost all of the entrees out, except we're missing one because one of the cooks had messed up on it. So the kitchen was pretty busy, and I would go to my manager, I'm like, hey, we're missing this. And the cook was like, well, I already sent out all that. I was like, no, I needed it with this instead of this. And he was like, well, you should have told me that, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, okay, well, can you start on this? Because they all have their food except this one guy. So I go back in the back, I go up to the one guy that we're missing his food, and I'm like, I'm sorry about that. Like, the cooks were a little mixed up. They have a bunch of parties out. They are working on your food. It should be coming up in just a second. I'm very sorry about that. Wait. So he's like, okay, no problem. A few minutes go by, his food still isn't up. But I go back to their table and I'm checking on them. I'm like, how's everything tasting so far? And they're like, where's his food? I'm like, it's still working. I'm very sorry about that wait. It's almost ready. We are very, very busy, but I'm very, very sorry about that wait. So at this point, he's obviously extremely pissed off. He's like, okay. So I go back over to the cook. Still a few minutes away from being done, so I'm like, okay, well, what do I do now? Go back a third time to check up on them, and everybody was like, where is his food? Like, we're almost all done, like, and his food still isn't out. Where is it? I'm like, I promise it's almost ready. They're finishing it right now. He was like, well, don't even bother. Like, everybody's almost finished. I don't even want it anymore. I was like, okay, I'm so sorry about that. I'll go ahead and talk to my manager about that. So I go over and talk to my manager, and the second I go up to her, the food's ready. So I'm like, of course, now it's ready now that he doesn't want it. So I tell my manager what happened, and she was like, well, we can just give it to him for free. We'll put it in a to-go box. He can still have it, but we won't have him pay for it. I'm like, okay, that's fine, whatever. So I bring his food in a to-go box. I'm like, I'm very, very, very sorry about that wait, sir. I talked to my manager. We are going to take it off for you, but we still wanted to give you the food, just, you know, for your troubles. The guy goes, okay, thank you, but can you also take her food off? And he pointed to his wife. His wife didn't want to eat her food until he got his food. So the guy was like, can you take off my wife's food too, because she's not eating it? I'm like, yeah, I'm very sorry about that. I'll go ahead and talk to my manager about that. So I go over and talk to my manager, and I'm like, can we also take off this food because she didn't want to eat until her husband got her food? And I'm like pissed off at this point. So my manager can tell how pissed off I am. I go in the back, tell him that we took off her food, and I'm like, is there anything else I can grab y'all, like any dessert or anything like that, any boxes? And they were like, yeah, we need a couple of boxes. So I go and grab boxes, and they were like, can we also get like 4 to-go teas and like 2 to-go Dr. Peppers? I was like, yeah, I'll grab that, and then I'll also grab the checks for you guys. And I'm like, okay. So I go and grab these checks, and it's like 13 separate checks. And at this point, the computer was being really, really dumb and wasn't letting me separate these checks. It just wasn't working. So I was at the computer for a good like 15, 20 minutes. And like 3 different people from that party came over to me. They were like, where are our checks? Like, what do you, like, why is it taking so long? Where are our checks? We need to go. So I'm like, I'm very sorry about that wait, but I have to separate 13 different checks and the computer's just not working. I promise I'll have these checks out as soon as possible. I say that to 3 different people from this party. So I finally grab their checks, and they're all like pissed off at this point. And I'm just like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, sometimes the computers don't work. Sorry, but I have to separate 13 different checks and the computer wasn't working. I don't know what you want me to tell you. So they were like, where's our to-go drinks? So I went back, grabbed their to-go drinks, and this one lady, she was on her check by herself. She comes over to me while I'm walking to the table, grabbing all their to-go drinks, and she hands me her check, and she was like, I gotta go. I was like, okay, well, give me 1 second. I have to pass out these drinks. She was like, no, well, if you're gonna leave, give me my check back. And when she said exactly, she was like, give me my mother effing check back, or give me my mother effing card back. She said it with the most attitude I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm like, fine, here. Walk away, go back to the table, grab everybody else's checks, pass out the freaking to-go drinks, and I'm paying everybody else out from that table. That same lady goes over to my manager, yells at my manager, tells me I'm like incompetent or something. I don't even remember what she said. But then my manager was like, I'm so sorry about that. Like, we'll take care of it. Just give me 1 second. She comes over to me and she's like, can you pay this lady out? I was like, yeah, just give me 1 second. Like, I'm trying to take care of all these other checks. So this lady's just like standing over me as I'm searching through all these different checks, and clearly she can see that I have all these other checks to go through, so it's gonna take me a while to get to her. But my manager was just like, go ahead, do her first and get her taken care of. So I get her taken care of, give her her check and her pen, and she says with an attitude again, she's like, you don't even give me a pen, I'm right here. And that was pretty much it. That was the one time that I had a customer actually cuss me out. Being a server sometimes is so incredibly frustrating and stressful, and people who don't work in the food industry just don't understand that sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes you can't always be there every second to give your best service. Sometimes you have bad days. But with that being said, not every single table is extremely horrible. There can be some really, really nice customers, and I do appreciate those customers. And I do remember those customers a lot more than the incredibly rude ones. So that was pretty much it that I have for you guys today. I do have a lot more stories of rude customers. So if you want a part 2 to this video, give this video a like and leave a comment down below. Also, I do have some stories of incredibly, really nice people. So if you want those stories, let me know in the comments down below as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you more than you ever know. Make sure to give this video a like if you liked it. Don't forget to hit subscribe and click the little bell so you never miss when I post. Make sure to always stay grateful, thankful, and positive, and I will see you guys next Monday. Bye, guys.